Peace, family. Welcome to Sunday Sitting with Sisters.
Peace, everyone.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to be sitting here with my sisters. We have Mama Ro from Earth Mama Healing Network and her Nurturing Girls program. And then also, too, we have Dr. Teresa Gully Reed from St. Nia Foundation. And I'm looking forward to our discussion. We're going to be talking about the Diary of the Angry Black Woman. And we're also going to be talking about financial freedom and the steps that we can take to get that freedom that we all deserve and need.
Right on, right on. So before we get into it with the doctor, because I'm very excited to hear information, how have your week been going the last 2 weeks? Because last week I was traveling back from Louisiana. But how's it been going for you, Dana?
It's been going good. Things have been going well with the literacy programs for the boys and the girls. I'm looking forward to a much needed hiatus from that, but we got an event coming up, Books in the Park. It's our second annual event. We're going to be recruiting for the fall and just celebrating the literacy programs. We never stopped. We transitioned from in person to virtual. So I'm really and they did okay, but of course it's nothing like that human touch, right? And being in person. So anyway, they're going to get a chance to be in person at the park on August 14th. But then after that, we're going to take like a month break and then start for the fall session. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about the opportunity that I was giving with Pro Youth and Families. I got a chance to work with 7 young people, and we had them in a mental health cohort that the city of Sacramento actually did. They did their presentation to another summer program that I work with. And it was just really good. And so one thing that I will say is that it seems like it hits different. The information hits different when it's coming from other young people. And so I think everybody got a lot out of it. So I'm looking forward to the future. I could have 2 of them working in my bookstore, and a couple of them will be working with other people as well. And so it's been exciting. It's been busy. I'm going to tell you the truth, bro. It's been busy. And I can't say like I mastered everything, but I think that there it's been influential. I think it's been an impact.
Right on, right on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I too have gotten a mini grant from the Youth Pro Youth and Families, and so I have 15 girls paid by them, but I have 17 girls.
Mm-hmm.
It's been going great for them. So they've had the opportunity. Because I have all Black girls, so because that's my lane, and so it's just been awesome watching them get all of this awesome information, watching them activated, watching young people get information that normally they wouldn't have access to, and building
Right.
sisterhood, like true sisterhood. So we are looking at mental health, we are looking at economics, we are looking at what it means to like live in other parts of the world, relationships,
Right.
spirituality. Like they're getting so much stuff. And of course, they're learning about everything from gentrification to how that impacts where they are right now, schools they would choose, mates they would choose, like all that kind of stuff. This has been really awesome. So I'm grateful for that opportunity to help me continue to work. And then because of that seed money, I've been able to leverage some other funds where some of the young ladies will be continuing on, but
Mhm.
now they will be working for a whole month in someone's business.
That's
So
good.
the key part that I've learned, Dana, is that the distance learning thing don't work for some young people. It don't
Oh
work
yeah.
for many young people because that human touch, that human contact, you have to be self-motivated. There's a lot of
Mhm.
distractions with social media. I found that
Mhm.
our kids know social media, but they don't know technology.
Mm.
Use the both, some of us as adults, because we think, oh, these young kids know. No, they don't know. They know how to do TikTok and post stuff, but they don't know how to use Word. They don't know how to use Zoom. They don't. Some of them really don't. And the young folks who do get it is because they have adults in their lives who have helped them.
Right.
And
Right.
so
That's right.
when
I'm
you
a
look,
product of that.
Yeah.
actually. Yeah.
So, but it's been awesome because they've been so open, and watching them work with these older women have been incredible. And then also Takara's on the team. So Takara's been doing this thing around the new African woman, and man, she talked about Queen Guy Santua, and she just broke it down because she's traveled to Africa several times. So her thing is like she has that young energy, but she
Yeah.
also has a respect for elders that a
Yeah.
lot of young people have not seen.
Right. That's
So
right.
it's been beautiful. Like I'm so grateful. So I love it. So I feel really good about it. And so now we're going to talk to this dear sister, Dr. Reed, and we're going to find out what is St. Nia Foundation? What is that?
Okay. Uh, Greetings, ladies. Thank you for having
Mhm.
me, Mama Ro. I really appreciate it. And thank you so much for thinking about including me, Dana. It's really been great
Yeah.
knowing both of you ladies over these years and working with you. So, St. Nia Foundation, Inc. was started in 2001, actually in San Francisco. And we first started because we wanted to do tutoring for young people because we noticed that that was really lacking in our community. And then from
Mhm.
there, we went on to talk about offer a program for Casey. Remember, at some point, you had to take the California exit
Mhm.
exam
Yeah.
to actually graduate. And then later, they actually overturned that because it really wasn't fair. And out of that, we decided to offer financial literacy to young people 12 to 18 and up to 26 for foster youth. We thought that that was a better way of using our time, especially with the economy and especially with the fact that foster youth often don't get the things that are passed down in traditional families. So, for example, I had two parents that were.
Uh-oh. Okay, family. So she's having some problems with her internet. So she gonna pop right back in. So I'm so sorry about that. But it's good
Okay.
to hear this information about her foundation, which I think is so awesome. And I'm just really looking forward to what she has to share. Because what I come to know is that a lot of people are doing stuff. We just don't know what people are doing.
That's true.
So I have to stop saying sometimes, ain't nobody touching this when there's probably people who've been working on it. Just because they're not in the media don't mean they're not getting the work in.
Right.
So
That's right.
always good to hear this information. And so as soon as she jump back on, we're gonna pop her right back in. Um,
Okay.
this is information that we just gotta have. I don't know about you all, but we gotta have this. And I think this will help us lead into the article, Sister Dana, around the diary of an angry black woman. Let's see
Oh, yes, absolutely.
next. So here she goes. She's back.
Okay,
Welcome
I'm
back.
not sure where I left off. I got booted
Talk
out.
about after they got rid of the test, then you guys started
Yes,
to focus on
right.
the different
So
things.
after they got rid of that test, we started focusing on financial literacy for young people 12 to 18 and up to 26 for foster youth. And we noticed with that population of foster youth, they don't get everything that other people get that are from a traditional family. Like both of my parents were able to teach me the ways that they do business. So my father was really a big saver because he had survived the 1929 stock market crash. So he believed in your money is safer under your pillow than it was in the bank. Whereas my mother, she liked to spend a lot of money. So I came somewhere in the middle there. But foster youth, because they bounce around an average of 7 times during their lifetime, don't get that knowledge. And so St. Nia tries to fill in the gap by providing that service to the community and with a focus on them. But of course, we help everyone. But one of the things that we did notice in our journey is that this is really a family, it's an opportunity for families to learn together because we noticed that even the adults really don't do basic things like keep a budget. They just kind of spend as they go. And now with in this COVID environment, it's more important than ever. And I recommend people retool their budgets. And that's actually why we started a 3-part series, which part one was last night about how do you retool your budget in this environment, because some people are now getting unemployment rather than their regular salary, and then this unemployment was giving people an extra $600 a month. So how do you actually look at that, and where do you put that money? Do you want to spend the extra month $600, or do you want to save it maybe for a rainy day? Because I understand that some people are getting more money now being unemployed than they were working. So these are some things that we want people to take a look at. So when you're looking at your budget and you're looking at your income, there's different types of income, and I encourage people to strive for the passive income, the income where you don't have to do anything to work for that money rather than going on a job. So this can either be through stocks and bonds, it can be through annuities, or it can be you start your own business and then you hire people that do the work for you. These are, better outcomes often than having the traditional job where you can be laid off. So we go over all of these kind of things in our workshop. So the 3-part series is going to consist of budgeting, it's going to consist of crediting, and we are trying to get a gentleman to come from Colorado, and this brother is going to talk about gold and silver, because there is some speculation that our money at some point may not be that of a lot of value, because right now, they're printing money to pay for these stimulus checks, and that money has to come somewhere. And so I'm encouraging our brothers and sisters to really look at how they're spending their money. So one exercise that we did, it was an exercise where we asked if you had a $500 a month deficit in your bank, in your checking account, where would you cut the money? Well, some of the young people said they would cut it by not buying a candy bar. And then other people said they may, well, yeah, because if you add up a candy bar once every month, it's $1, that's $30. And even with me being really savvy with my budget, when I retired, I kept seeing extra money every month. And I had a hard time figuring out where that extra money comes from. Well, guess what? When you retire, you're not buying pantyhose, you're not getting gas going to work, you're not buying lunch at work, you're not getting the Starbucks coffee. So that was really an eye opener for me. And then some of the people said that they would cut out Netflix and maybe just keep PlayStation View, or vice versa. Right, because back in my day, we didn't have all of that, right? We played outside. So some of the things that we have, we really don't need. So it's very important to distinguish from a want and a need, right? Need is food, housing, clothing, right? Those are needs. But want is Netflix. That's a want. Candy bar, which is considered a variable expense, because that can change every month, how many candy bars or whatever you buy. But your basic expenses like housing, you need that to survive. So I think a lot of times with social media, Netflix now is considered, a need rather than a want. So these are just things to think about when developing your budget. So you want your income minus expenses, which will give you your net income. And you always want that to be a positive at the end of the month, because then you can throw that into savings. Then you can put that in an emergency fund. Then you can save that for a business or whatever else that's going to help you spiritually and financially.
Right on. So you said something that was key. You said that this is something that you think that foster youth don't get that I guess traditional people do. But I don't think
Yes.
that many traditional people left.
Yeah,
No, for real,
amen,
when you think
sister.
about traditional family, because I work with a lot of young people and they may have their parents, but they don't know none of that stuff either. I think that's a misconception. But
Yes,
you know,
ma'am.
because time has totally changed. There's
Yes.
so many young people who have no idea. I think sometimes foster youth get some stuff that regular people don't get because we assume that they don't have certain stuff. And I
Yeah.
mean, too many children with two parent families or just, and they're struggling. I mean, they
Yes,
have
ma'am.
no idea like how to save money, what that looks like. Looking at a stream app. Like I know for myself, a young person told me about Roku,
Mm.
um, and
Mm,
I got rid of my cable, saved hundreds of dollars
yeah,
on my cable bill because I got Roku. I don't have no cable bill except for the internet service, which is very basic.
yeah,
Would have never known that if young folks hadn't been like, you still using, get Roku. And then I'm learning about streaming apps. You get to really detail what you really want to watch, and you don't have to have all of those hundreds of channels, especially since we've been in quarantine. So it's been nice to look at ways of cutting corners or starting a garden or just saving money
Yes.
because you can't go to the casino. One of my friends said her mom said she saved like $10,000 because she ain't been to the casino. You know what I
That's
mean?
a lot
So,
of money.
yeah, that's a lot of money. So I was like,
it
wow,
is.
like first of all, who got money to be going to the casino like that? But I mean, that's another story.
Right.
But I just thought to myself, wow, I never really thought about it quite like that in terms of saving money. And I was raised around a lot of elders, and you can get them to do some of the stuff like buying coffee from Starbucks. Are you serious? Like they just didn't do stuff like that. It was like
Yeah,
they kept their money in their house and they always had
yeah,
money. And here they are on fixed income, but they got lots of money saved.
yeah. That's true.
Some of us
That
make
is
good
true.
bucks. We can't save no money.
Yeah, my aunt, she's 80 years old. She thinks the idea of someone going to Starbucks to pay $5 for a coffee, she thinks it is utterly ridiculous. Like she can't even wrap her mind around that concept. So I get, yeah, that's true,
So
bro.
there are a lot of apps out now. One that I use that someone told me about is called Stash, and it's basically where you basically stash money away, but you can buy stock and things. They tell you what places to buy stock, like Apple, like Amazon. Like I mean, they give you all of these things, but you can look at the ones you want. So I did a little bit of Amazon. I did a little Apple. Things that I know, like Home Depot, like things where more people are fixing up their houses. So when you go to Home Depot, it's packed. Like we went
Yes.
to IKEA yesterday, and the line was around the building. Like, oh no, I'm not standing in line. I gotta be twisted. I'm not standing in line. But how do those things work? How do the stock market work? How
Okay.
because we hear a lot about that, but I'm not
Yes.
sure how that works myself.
Mm,
Well, how I got involved in the stock market was actually back in the day before I even majored in finance. I just thought that, how are these people making money? So what happened was I had started a new job back in the 80s, and in my dress, in the drawer there, someone hadn't cleaned it out, and so there was this book in there about the stock market, how to buy stocks. And
Mm.
so I just kind of was thumbing through it a little bit. I said, oh, this might be something interesting to pursue. So I found out that there's something that's called the penny stocks. Has anyone heard of those?
I heard that back in the day.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So there is a group of stocks that are under $5 a share, and that's why they call them penny stocks. And so I decided to invest in 4 or 5 of those stocks. Now you have to remember with stocks, you have to hold them for several years. In fact, I think I have one of mine for maybe 20 or 30 years before they start to make money. So, and then some of the companies go by the wayside. Some of them you lose money on, but you want to look at the company that's going to be growing. And Mama Ro, you made out a good point, like Home Depot.
Mm.
That's something, that's what you have to do. So one of the companies that I decided to invest in, because I said, Lord, these people sure love those pets. They love those pets, right? So at one time, PetSmart was a penny stock. And so I ended up, I don't know why I decided to purchase 1,000 shares of PetSmart, but I did, and it was $1.50, a share. So it ended up being like a $1,500 investment. So anyway, 20 to 30 years later, the shareholders voted to sell that particular company, and it went private. So guess what the shares were selling for when it went private? From $1.50, it was selling for $83 a share, and I had 1,000 shares. So, so
that was beautiful.
So that's why it's important, like Mama Rose said, look at that company and see what they're going to be doing. So, and then I also had this company, which you're not supposed to do, but I'm going to tell people, I was on one of those business channels, and the guy gave this great reputation. I liked the name of the company. It was called Loud Cloud. And so they kept, people kept buying the company, right? It kept changing names. So one day I decided, you know what? I'm going to go to the stockholders meeting down in Silicon Valley. So I went to the stockholders meeting. I got to meet the CEO of the company. People were hollering at them because they had invested a lot. I had only 100 or shares or so with that company, so I wasn't fully invested in it. But I just had it in my mind that, the company was going to turn around. So I decided to, keep those shares. 2 years later, guess who bought the company and guess who got paid? Hewlett Packard bought the company. They turned it into a whole nother section in their company. The CEO of the company was employed at that point by Hewlett Packard. So I got lucky. Now, there's some other ones I didn't get quite as lucky, and those shares were pharmaceutical shares. They didn't make it. Because, they get eaten up by those bigger, like Merck and Bayer. So pharmaceuticals, I didn't do as well. I didn't do as well with the airlines, because when I brought after that, a lot of the airlines went bankrupt. So those stocks I lost. So you win and you lose with the stock market.
Now, how do you know? How do you just buy stocks though? Like how?
Oh,
how
okay.
Do you,
Well, then, and that was a whole.
but your information right there was great, because I do want to know about that. But I just wonder.
Yes. So what happened was there's different brokerage firms. So the first brokerage firm I brought stock was from Fidelity, and it was quite intimidated back in the day, because still even today that many African Americans don't buy stock.
Right.
So I went there, downtown San Francisco, to Fidelity, and there's a guard in the door. He's like, "May I help you?" I wasn't expecting it. I said, "Oh, I'm here to buy stock." It's like not, and it's my first time doing it, but now, everything is online. You can go to fidelity.com and you can, start an account there. You can also call them, make an appointment, because they actually have a brick and mortar that you can go into and get a financial advisor. So if you want help, you can actually get someone to make recommendations for you, a stockbroker. But I just kind of wanted to do it on my own, and I'm kind of glad I did, because it gives you a new perspective. But you do, for those penny stocks, you want to have at least, 1,000 dollars or so for your initial investment.
Okay, that makes sense. So how much for an initial start?
You want to have at least $1,000 so you can get an amount of shares that's going to be worth you investing, so you can make money, on the back end. And you want to have money invested that if you lose, it's not going to be a big deal to you financially, because remember, you're going to be holding it maybe 20 to 30 years.
Gotcha.
Or unless you get lucky and get like a Google stock or something like that just keeps going up. But remember, people who had those Uber stocks at one point were doing really well. They got in the ground. But then now with COVID, though, that's has tumbled a little bit. So you just want to be careful, because you don't want to feel like, oh my God, I lost all this money.
Is this still feasible to have a savings account and have your
Good,
without making
good
money?
question.
That's a great question.
I actually just talked to my banker about 2 weeks ago, and I have this old school annuity that I had gotten in the 80s, so it still has a decent interest rate on it. But because I'm no longer working, I'm not allowed to add the traditional, because it was a retirement or IRA annuity. So right now, yes, the savings accounts are paying less than 1%. So yeah, it's really not feasible for that type of savings account. So what this bank is doing, they're only working with people that have over $100,000. And since I didn't have over $100,000 and I'm not working anymore, I'm not able to really, have a savings account. Now, they do have a program for someone that has $25,000 or more. And I was going to take a look at that, but I haven't had a chance to. They don't offer it here. It's actually back east somewhere. So what these banks have done, they've consolidated. So you used to go in and you had a relationship with your traditional banker, right? So depending on your financial situation now, like your traditional banker is only going to be really working with people over 100 grand. Anyone less, they have one central person back east that's taking care of all of the people that have less than that, as far as investing with a bank goes. So unless you have somewhere between 25,000 and 100,000, banking is probably not the way to go.
Okay.
And I'm not a banker. I just want to make a disclosure statement that I'm not a financial planner. They may say something different, because of course they're going to get a percentage off of, so they may, but I just want to say St. Neil Foundation Inc., we're not bankers. I'm only speaking from my personal experience in this arena. So just for that disclosure.
What about money market accounts for savings? I hear a lot of people talk about the money market accounts.
Yeah, no, I mean, I have one, but it's not paying me that much interest. Not like it used to.
What about day trading?
I know people that have day traded, but I have not day traded, and the reason why, that means you gotta every day you gotta trade. That's why it's called day trading, because the market goes up and down, so you gotta be there to sell, you gotta be there to buy, you have to watch the market. So that's for someone who has time and energy to do that, which I don't. Yeah.
Sister Felicia Jones. I don't know if Jones Felicia.
Yes.
What stocks do you pay monthly, or is it a one-time purchase, or is it both?
For what?
For stocks.
Oh yes.
I'm paying monthly, but I mean that's from the snap.
Yeah. For me, I had savings, so I paid mine all up front. But they do have investment clubs where they will allow you to pay monthly. That is correct. Seems like I haven't heard of a lot of investment clubs lately.
Yeah, I used to be a part of one, Marcus Garvey Investment Club, and we kind of disbanded. But I think that we should start another one because we were all learning a lot. We based it off this book, and I forget the name of it. I think it's Beard Town. It's an old book, and it's written by some white women who lived in a small town, and they needed to generate income for themselves. And so they got together and created an investment club. And what we would do is we would pay, let's say if it was $25 every month, and then we would collectively buy stock every month based on what we were paying monthly. So like Felicia, if you're buying stock on your own, and let's say you want to buy 100 shares of Home Depot, then yeah, that's a one-time purchase, right? But if you're in an investment club or a part of any other type of investment product that causes you to pay monthly, then you pay monthly. But if you wanted to get 10 shares of Starbucks, that's a one-time purchase. Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. I know that there I'll go back east a lot. There's a lot of smaller investment clubs that people come together on, and even down to I think sometimes the hardest thing about doing an investment club is to trust people. Like I was part of a Susu on the East Coast when I lived in Newark, and in the Caribbean community, Susus are a big thing. Like it's really big. But for African Americans, sometimes we struggle with trusting each other to put our money into the pot when we're supposed to. Yeah. Like I was in a $50 Susu. That wasn't really nothing, but that was my first time. And they had to have like a little meeting to see if I could be a part of it. I wasn't upset and I wasn't even offended.
Okay.
When I came back to California and tried to do that with people in my circle, it was kind of like, ooh, girl, I don't know. It's like, you know what I mean? I was just like, well, this is why people have to have meetings. But I do think as the times get tighter, people will have to drop some of what they thought. Like you will find yourself gathering with people who are like-minded, who can take those chances with you. And when you think of $50 a month, that's really no money. Because there were Susus that was like $1,000 a month, $2,000. Like I was like, ooh, damn, I can't get those, but I can do $50. You're gonna have my $50. I mean, I would pay up like months in advance because I would be traveling. But there is something about pooling your resources and trusting each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any kind of investment club, and in our community, we have to strengthen our trust in each other around money.
Yeah. Yeah. Ro, if you don't mind me asking, what did you get from the Susu?
So this is how it worked. There was 6 of us in the Susu. That means twice a year we would get the pot of money, you know.
Okay.
And then we took $25 of that money each month, and that went into a savings account in case somebody had a real emergency. They could borrow against that. So I remember when I got mine, my sister was ill, so I had to fly home. I used that money for a plane ticket. People buy like a refrigerator. Like you use that for big ticket items that you probably buy out of your check because that's usually already planned.
Yeah.
People use it for various and different things. I know that I learned this in a documentary, and when Black folks from the Caribbean went to London and they had a hard time with housing, they pulled their money to Susu to buy whole buildings so that they could own their own buildings. That's how big the Susu was, because it was a way of pulling together your pennies. But again, it's a trust factor.
Yeah.
I got to keep going back to that because a bunch of people on the Susu and y'all all pulling this money together to buy where you live. That's major because the housing was so unfair for them when they were in England. So it was really big with Caribbean people to do that Susu. But I also learned that in the South, there was something called the Egg Club or something like that. It was basically a Susu that Black women got together, played cards or whatever, but they were pulling their money. They were doing like a version of a Susu, but they called it something different. So that's not to say we can't do it, but I just find that sometimes it's the trust thing. I don't even think it's the money. I think it's around money because people have their ideas of what they think around money. We have to also take the badness out of, people being taught like money is the root of all evil. Like who comes up with shit like this? Like it's paper. You know what I mean? It's paper. So, it's kind of like you have to, like, sometimes our programming around money, we equate being successful with money. But I know
Uh-huh.
a lot of people who have a lot of money, but they're not really successful the way, they're not good human beings. So they got all the money, but they die tomorrow. We be like, thank God, let's go clean their house out. Like, you don't
Yeah.
even care that they're not here anymore. So it's your relationship with money that we struggle with. My Uncle Stanley said, don't let the money burn a hole in your pants, like stuff like that. Because we get money and immediately we want to spend, like immediately.
Yeah.
Instead of sitting on the money. And I would hope through the quarantine that people looked at that. That's what made me start looking at investing. I was talking with a friend of mine, and she was like, I use this. And I'll be like, well, what's that? And then I went and started research. I said, well, I got some dollars. I could because it wasn't as much, it's like $30 on my account every month to buy certain stocks or whatever. I think I could do that. That was very simple. It wasn't like they was asking me for like $1,000 and I'd be like, well, I wait till I save up. But with the smallest of money, and I don't know about y'all, but I grew up with a lot of older people who always had huge jars of pennies and dimes and nickels. And I was myself, wow, I wonder how much was in there. And that was their way of doing investing. That was their way. But I wonder if they knew like some of the workings of an investment club where they could have had more. Like I know with my nephew, when he was born, I buy these little stocks for him, like a what is it called? It's like it was so when he gets 18, he would have like a little bit more. I think I paid like 100 into it, and he got like 1,000 and something out of it or whatever. But it was something. I didn't know what I was doing, but at least I did something. Every time a child is born, if we save something cash when they're 18, they will start out with a little bit more than we did.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right about that.
Stuff you buy depreciates as soon as you buy it. Like,
that's
right. Not really inherit your car. Like that's not really going to happen. Like you'll try, it'd be so old, like they might even make parts for it no more. So think about something that's going to be more tangible that you can leave, that they can build on. Because that's how I see money. It's a way for you to build on. Like I would want my descendants, my nieces, to have more to work with than I had when I was 18.
Right. Can I ask you guys a question, and also too for the audience? One of the things that keep constantly coming up, and Dr. Teresa, I think you may have touched on it, is that the value of the dollar is going down. Pretty soon it's going to be reduced to nothing. So should we be investing in gold and silver for our loved ones? For like when Rose said, if somebody have a baby, maybe we should buy them a block of gold. And I know that might sound a little bit silly, but the likelihood of the dollar going down, especially if they're printing money, is high, right? People have talked about that for years.
Yeah. Now I'm not really sure, but I think it may be around 2,000 or 2,000 and something an ounce now. Don't quote me on that. But so for the people who got in there early.
Oh,
but now for an investor, I mean, you can still do it, but it's going to cost you. That's not my expertise. That's why we're having someone come to actually discuss that. And then I wanted to also talk about the SUFU because someone approached me about it. But I couldn't find two people that were really interested in do it because you said the trust factor, and then they would have to find two people as well. So even if you could find two people, then the two people you find have to find two people. So that's something that's kind of difficult for our community. This one was for 500. And then I got a call back later. And they told me it had went down to 100, but I didn't feel comfortable with even going back to people at that point. You know what I mean? Yeah. But as far as the gold and silver, we would need an expert, to really give us training on that. Like I said, there's a brother that I've been told in Colorado that's an expert. So I'm going to try to get him for the August 28th workshop.
Yeah, that just makes a lot of sense. I just feel like we have to figure out a way to change our relationship with money. That's all I can say. That's
Yeah.
it.
Should we go into a little bit of the article on the money article?
Sure, please.
Okay. Um, So, you all, the name of the article is How to Use a 21-Day Financial Fast to Improve Spending Habits. Okay. There's also a sister that wrote this book, and I believe it's on our Sunday Sitting with Sister page. But if it's not, I will put it up on there. Okay. But okay, so in the 21-day financial fast, your path to financial peace and freedom, which that's a book. Financial advisor and Washington Post columnist Michelle Singletary outlines the financial fast, a sort of money diet that promises to break bad spending habits, create a plan to become debt free, and set yourself on a better financial course for the future. While on a financial fast, you can't spend any unnecessary money at all. And I'm going to tell y'all, I'm going to try and do this. Okay. Unless it's food, shelter, or something else essential to survival, you're committing to making do with what you already have. Okay. So while the financial fast is only meant to be followed for a short time, its goal is to help you break the financial habits. And we already know that it takes 21 days to make a habit. For some of us, it takes 21 days. So the rules are, well, let me read this part. It says, can a financial fast work for you? I've had plenty of experience with financial fasting. Every April, I recover from the holidays and my kids' birthdays by going a month without any unnecessary shopping. That's good. She can only do that just in 1 month. It's always an eye-opening experience that helps me see the error of my ways. However, before you begin your own financial fast, it's important to understand the rules as outlined in Singletary's book. So the rules, the challenges, here they are. So make it last for 21 days. So 3 weeks is a perfectly reasonable period of time to cut back on your wants and focus only on what you need. If you commit for less time, you may not really absorb the benefits of the fast. Okay. So only purchase needs unless you absolutely need it to survive. Don't buy it during your fast. That eliminates, ooh, she
Yeah,
said
yeah.
that eliminates trips to the hair salon, happy hour at the bar, which there's no bars open, right? Restaurant dinner.
Because I was just in Louisiana and Arizona, and all their stuff was on.
Oh,
Tell these folks that they can't go to the bar. You may be cussed all the way out.
okay. So, and no trips to the hair salon. Restaurant dinners, movies. Oh, girl, online purchases, even birthday presents for your best friends. Instead, your money should only go towards food, housing, medication, and other necessities. Then they also ask or challenge us to pay with cash only. You become more conscious of your spending process when you actually pay in cash, which that's going to be a thing because a lot of people don't even carry cash no more. Those bills can serve as a potent visual reminder of the decisions you're making as you make them. When the cash stays in your wallet, you're going to feel a lot better about yourself. Okay. And then lastly, keep a spending journal. Throughout your financial fast, keep a detailed log of what you spend, what you save, and where you may be struggling. You can refer to this journal when you're all done to help identify spending triggers and habits. And I'm gonna tell y'all about those triggers. I tend to go shopping. I don't need no more clothes. I don't need no more clothes. Y'all, if I'm feeling a certain type of way, I will I'll go shopping, and it'll make me feel good temporarily. So this is going to be a thing for me. So here are the advantages, okay? And then I'm going to open it up. Hopefully you guys have some techniques as well that you use or that you employ to save money. So the advantages to this fast is you become more conscious of your spending habits, obviously, right? You get on top of your current finances. Okay. You reduce what you put on credit cards, which is good, especially for those of us that's trying to build up our credit. So I believe our credit card balances should have at least 2/3 open to not impact us negatively. I think maybe Dr. Reed can chime in on that. And then also to reduce your temptation. So if you're practicing for 21 days not to spend on something you don't need, your temptation hopefully will be reduced to do that. We're going to really have to look at our triggers, because I know that I emotionally spend like I emotionally eat. So I don't know who's in, y'all. Who's in on to do this fast?
So I don't want to say I don't believe in fast, because I think some of us need a jump start, but I think things have to come to you. For me, it has to come natural.
Okay.
If I really made a concerted effort that I was not going to, like for instance, during this quarantine, I think I've saved more money during the quarantine. I've lost weight. My eating habits has shifted. I have a garden. That came as a result of me having to deal with myself, because I can't go nowhere. Yeah. So immediately, I really went back to what I grew up around. I didn't grow up going to the hair salon. I was that person who sat between the woman's legs and got my hair braided.
Yeah.
That for me was like, Khadijah, you braid my hair? Like, you know what I mean? Like that happened. Cooking. When you cook for yourself, for me, I don't eat as much, because when I cook, I get tired. So I end up eating a little bit of what I cooked. Because I don't really get to sit at a restaurant and somebody wait on me and then I'm eating when I'm eating stuff just because it's there. The money thing is, yes, the thing with the cash. I found that when I use cash, I didn't have to worry about my bank statement or credit card statement looking like, oh my God, I done went all over the board. But I was also able to pay off my credit cards because of the quarantine and having extra money. I use that to pay off things that I could have been paid off if I wasn't over here buying once. You know what I mean? So There was something about this quarantine when people felt like they had to be safe and have water and have all kind of stuff like that. There was something about being in this quarantine time for me that allowed me to grow on the strengths that I grew up with. Because I didn't grow up with parents who, bought us expensive shoes. And I didn't grow up with that. They had their little money saved in their shoe box and all. I kind of went back to that. I'd have like money in my house in case of an emergency. Mm-hmm. Like I have all those little things I grew up watching people do. I'm doing that. You know what I mean? Some of us need a jump start because all of us didn't grow up that way. So I don't think it's everybody. But I think there is something about this time period, people having to be with themselves, where you figure out, I don't like being broke. I don't like not having money to do what I want to do. I don't like that feeling at all. So that means it's kind of like trying to lose weight. If you really are overweight and you sick of your weight, you don't need somebody to come on TV like, lose that weight. You be like, I'm really disgusted. I have to really do something different. Nothing motivates like when you decide to do something.
That's true. And I like what you said about some people needing that jump start.
Yeah, some people need that. The jump start for me was quarantine.
Yeah.
That was my jump start, walking 5 miles a day. That was like, ooh. One lady said that they had a meme where a dog was like, oh my God, we never sit over because I gotta go walk the dog. But really, you don't have to walk the dog. You just want to get outside. You know what I mean? For me, having time every morning to get up and go walking, that's totally shifted my health.
Yeah. I agree with you, bro. Yeah, that's really good.
I never did it because I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off. I would never did it. I look at money very differently. I went to an outlet in Phoenix and bought very few things out of there. Like I was like, nope, I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't need that. I have a garage full of stuff.
Uh-huh.
Just gonna have to go through it.
Yeah.
You can get rid
Well,
of
I
the
had an
stuff 'cause I'm never
issue.
gonna wear it. Huh? Go ahead. What you say?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I had an issue with this number 3, pay with cash only, because you have to be really disciplined to actually make sure every time you get a receipt and then go back home and put it on a journal.
Yeah, that's
I think it's better to pay with your debit card, and then at the end of the 21 days, you can print out online
right
a
on.
list of all of your transactions,
Right on.
what you spent, where you spent it, etc. I think that the cash, there's just an opportunity for you to buy something and then it not get on your journal.
Okay.
And
Hmm.
and you know, if you're gonna keep a spending journal, that's similar to having a budget, you know, every month, where you already have a certain amount of money allotted,
Mm-hmm.
right, for your spending. So I agree with Ro on that, is that what happens after the 21 days? Do you go back to your old routine? What are you going to do to continue what you've learned? And the way that you do that is by having a robust budget that you're monitoring on a month-to-month basis.
Right
Mm-hmm.
on.
Mm-hmm.
Right on. That makes
Yeah, I agree with you. We also, I know time is winding. We also have another article that we wanted to look at. Are we ready to look at that?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Okay, so the diary of an angry woman. And I thought the sister made some profound statements in the article. Um, She says that she no longer avoids speaking. She no longer avoids speaking her mind because keeping a false peace is counterproductive. The stakes have become too high, and I think the stakes on that is our health. So I'm not going to bore you guys by reading the whole article. I'm going to just summarize it. This woman was talking about how she grew up, and she grew up in a British Caribbean household. um there was filled with Christian meekness, and this is what she calls it. Okay. So basically they didn't, her parents and the people that she was raised around, they didn't really show anger even when something really bad happened. They just kind of smothered their emotions. And so she had grew up being a child doing that, right? And so she grew up and she became an adult, and she's found herself not wanting to be seen as an angry black woman, but she was angry. There were things that pissed her off. She was angry. I read that. Guys, you all know that?
Oh, well, what you
Okay.
think, Dr. Reed?
Well, you know, I mean, I really get it. She's saying angry woman, but we have this reputation sometimes as being angry black women because we speak our mind, because we're very assertive women, and because in a lot of instances we've had to be, we may be single parents, and so we got a lot going on, and we, at the end of the day, we want the best for our children. And you know, we're like the bear with her cub. If we feel that you've done something to our child, we're going to come out swinging. And a lot of times we're perceived as that because people don't really listen to us. So what happens when people don't
Mm.
listen to you? Your voice gets louder
Yeah.
and louder. You get excited, right?
Yeah.
You get mad and you get angry because, and then a lot of times we're not seen as being pretty, right? We're not told that
Mhm.
we're pretty. We're not told that we're beautiful. We're told there's something wrong with our hair, right? We're told there's something wrong with our skin tone. And so after a while, we begin to go back into our shell, or we will do the opposite and we get more robust and raunchy, you know. So it's really a shame because I think that we are probably the most misunderstood women on the planet, because
Yeah.
we're mother of civilization. We have a lot to offer, and if people would get to know us, for who we are, and get around the stereotype. It's not all of us. There's good and bad in all women, but the fact is, no one brings it out about the other women. They just comment on us. And you're going to comment on the star, because face it, we're stars and we shine brightly.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
we're out there for people to comment on us. I mean, we really are. And I'm just going to say, think of what the world would look like if you woke up one morning and there were no sisters to be seen anywhere. Think about how that world would be.
Yeah.
Well,
That was,
there really wouldn't be no world because nobody could get here.
yeah, that's
Good
exactly
one. I
true.
like that one.
I want to say that I kind of I can identify with what the lady was talking about in the article about kind of like not really expressing herself and having that inner rage, and she didn't really use those words, but I can identify with that. And I think the more and more I became more vocal about how I was feeling, more assertive about my thoughts and my feelings, and the more I started valuing myself, the better things were. Hey, the better my health were, the better my blood pressure numbers were. And so I think that there's probably a lot of people that can identify with what the lady was talking about in the article, and also to notice the change and the difference when you stop smothering yourself. Who cares if you're seen as the angry Black woman? Like, who cares how you sing?
Sorry, keep going, y'all. Sorry, somebody at my door.
Okay, no, that's okay. So yeah, it's like, who cares? And like you said, we are stars. I mean, we the queen of the universe. I mean, there is none like the Black woman. And I know that we go through a lot of stuff, and we got a lot of issues that we deal with in our community, in our relationships with our family. We have been given a different set of circumstances than other people. But I mean, still, we the queen of the universe. So I just found that the less I'm concerned about how people view me.
Something happened with Dana's.
Yeah, something happened.
But I'll just elaborate a little bit about that. I think the article was good. I think because this person who wrote this was Black, so I think we have the right to do whatever it is we want to do. And if she wants to write an article about how she feels on that subject, I think that's good. I think that's healthy. I think that I'm really not concerned about what people think about me. I think that to be an American means that you're probably angry all the damn time sometimes. I mean, when you see what's happening, when you go to apply for a loan, when you got to interact with people who think they know who you are, or who get mad when you don't show up in the box that they thought that you were supposed to be in. And that's not just with the outside world, that's also within the Black community. So my thing is, I think it's very liberating when a person can talk about if they're angry or, or just to express it, because I think we live a lot by trying to appear to be one way when really some of us are not feeling like that. And there's nothing wrong with saying that, yeah, I'm angry. Or, everybody else has anger. Why can't I have anger? I'm the mother of all of you. So how does that work? So, you know what I mean? So I just really feel like, yeah, I think you have every right to feel that way. You have every right to feel that way. So that's, I was just filling in for you, Dana. And Sister Tina McLean is saying, right, we should all be angry. You know what I mean? If that's the path you want to take. And I think there's nothing wrong with anger at all. I just have to be honest. I do have my moments where I go in on people. Yes, I do. Because I think sometimes people could hear you more when you have certain vibration tones on your voice. If you're like, please stop killing us, nobody will hear you. If you're like, God damn it, like, and then people hear you. So it's all of it is like vibration, like it's, and I think Black people, that's why when we go to church, no matter what people think about Christianity, that's why we tend to shout at church. That's why we be jumping around and just feeling free and released. Don't nobody rock it like we rock it, because that's been our way for so long of being able to release, because we haven't always had that as an opportunity. I think that's why sometimes we're so expressive. That's what I think.
Yeah.
When you see us, and you be like, girl, child, what? I think all of that are acts of expression. That's why sometimes we put a little bit more on it. But I don't think other groups have been through quite what we've been through and continue to go through.
Yes.
And it's not just like the outside world. I have to keep saying this. It's also within the Black community, like where we don't get to have any accountability to how we treat each other. We want to blame everything on other systems, but I'm standing here looking at you. You can really change how you're going to interact with me. Just like I'm changing the way I'm interacting with you.
Right.
You can't say we the queen and the goddess and all of that of everybody, but yeah, we don't want to take no personal responsibility. You can't say the Black man is God and the Black man is king and all that in the beautiful form, but he don't get to take no responsibility for something. He may not be those things.
Yeah. Absolutely. You're right about that.
When you're the boss, you may have to go scrub that floor.
Yeah.
I learned that from my ex-boss. She said, don't get it twisted. I'm running everything, but I still go clean the bathroom if I have to.
Yeah.
That's what it means to be like, to be the owner of yourself.
Right. You're right.
And so I get it. I just think when we write about things, I think we have every right to feel all the emotions that we want to feel.
Yep.
I just think sometimes people hear us. Dr. Reed talked about we're not heard. I don't think we heard unless we're talking the language that people want you to talk.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to hear you. But if the conversation is like, I don't like the way you're doing this and that, it's like, well, wait a minute, because you might help me. Like we go into religious dogma to back up the bullshit, which is why we can't move any further. Like we talk about the money is all root of evil, but when you go to church, you give up that money. When you go to the mosque, you give up that money. Whatever you participate in, you give up the money. So how evil is it really if you needed to sustain yourself?
And it's expected.
And it's expected. Thank you, Queen. You know what I mean? I just look at that and be like, I think she's spot on. And I also think we take on the characteristics of what we think appears to be right. So the sister said that she grew up in a British Caribbean home. And to me, that's like you grew up with white expectations because we're talking about Britain. Black folks do it here too, no matter where the British people went or the Portuguese people or whatever. They all have this way of saying this is proper. But meanwhile, they're doing all kind of really ridiculous demonic stuff. You know what I'm saying?
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, because part of that is just perception. Like we might be correcting people's English. Like, dude, we are not even British.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I'm gonna say, water or whatever, you don't get to act like, well, it's water. Shut up. We're African people. Like we're speaking a language that ain't even ours. That's the little tidbit stuff that makes you feel angry for me. When it's like, how you gonna check somebody and neither one of us is white? How you gonna be more British than the British? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No problem. But you brought up a good point because sisters come from all over the world, and depending on what colonizing country you happen to be in, you're going to be act as expected in that particular country. So I'm sure that the British blacks are experiencing something different than we would be experiencing here in America. And so when people say this term sister, they have one expectation that sisters are all in the same box where we're not. We may be of African descent, but we're technically different people. We're different people, all of us, based upon our experiences.
That's so true. That's true. I always say we may have shared experiences, but how we react to them may not be shared.
That's true. That's true.
It's kind of like when you see somebody, we could all read the Bible and all of us have different interpretations of what we just read. But it's the exact same word we read. We didn't, you know what I mean? but it's the interpretation. Some people see things. I mean, I always look at like my mom, never seen her get angry or pissed off. Didn't mean she wasn't angry or pissed off, but she was like, I got other stuff to do. I don't really have time to sit and get all my damn energy. I just don't have time to do that. Where some people, they're going to give energy to everybody that comes. You be wore out at the end of the day, like, oh my God, I'm so exhausted. So I don't do that. It's like, if I'm disagreeing, we disagree next, keep it pushing. I do not have time to sit here and educate you on why you should do the right thing. I just don't have time to do that. But y'all go right ahead. So I just feel like I'm glad the sister wrote the article. I would hope that we move through the anger, because anger is real, but anger ages you. Anger takes away your life force. And anger could wear you out. We have to learn to be angry, but keep it pushing. Like, to address the anger and then to figure out a way to turn that anger into something else, which is what we normally do.
Right.
Most of us start stuff because we got angry about something.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I didn't like the way they treated me, so I went and got my own. Like the sister who does the black femicide, she said she was doing this with the white person, but the white person was only focusing on the white women, and she was like, shit, I just went and did my own. That's usually how it happens for us. Like, usually your anger turns into some kind of, hopefully, motivation to do something that's productive and positive, not something that's destructive. So that's my take on it, Dana. That's a really good article. I believe you shared the link on here.
Both of the links are in. I hear a background, but anyway, both of the links are inside of the comment and on the Sunday Sitting with Sister page.
Yep. Here's the Money Crashers one, and then the other one up here. They're long links. If y'all click on this, is the article about sistersletter.com. It's about the diary of an angry Black woman.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and then Dana, can you also put in there if anybody has any questions, stneafoundation.org if they want to reach me. That's my website.
St. Nea's Foundation?
Yeah, stneafoundation.org is my website. People have questions about finance, they can reach me directly. And my email is info@stnea.org. stneafoundation.org.
All right, family. So y'all see, we just put that up here. We'll also get her email up there. Can you give us the origins of the name of your foundation before we check out of here?
Certainly. I certainly will. Well, Nia, Swahili for know thyself. And I feel that we all are saintly, we're godly, we're the first people on earth. So I just decided to put saint in front of the Nia.
I know.
So,
Okay.
yeah, so it's a learning process. Know thyself, know how you spend your money, know what resources you have. It's part of your interaction here on the planet and in the world.
Thank you so much for that. Any closing remarks, Dana?
No, I don't have any closing remarks. I just want to say thank everyone for joining us and sitting down with us. I think the conversation was good today, especially around finances and especially around, processing your anger, channeling it, like not ignoring it or burying it or smothering it, but definitely channeling it in a way that is going to be productive.
Right on. What about you, Dr.
Okay. Yes, I just wanted to for those of you who missed last night's presentation, the two-part series will continue August the 14th and August the 28th, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So you can get information on our website or you can email me for that. And it's a virtual Zoom meeting.
Right on. Thank you so much, sisters, for sitting down with us on Sunday. Thank you to the audience. We will be back next week. And remember, learn something about saving some money. It's okay to be an angry Black woman as long as you turn it into a productive expression. Peace, family.
Peace.
Thank you for having me, sisters. Peace and blessings.
Thank you.